The one, the only Bill O'Reilly is joining us now. Bill, any thoughts on this hospital and what's happening over in England?
You know, this isn't the first time that the British authorities have basically said our posture is that if a child or an elderly person cannot survive, if we deem that to be true, then we're not going to do anything to elongate the life. That's what it's about. And they're not going to deviate out of that. The atrocity, though, is that, as you pointed out, the Vatican said, look, we'll care for the child. You know, we believe that life is sacred, and there's a cycle of life, birth and death, and that we'll take care of the child at our expense. So why would the British authorities say, no, you can't do that? That's when you get into real oppression. But I want to address your remarks about America. You know, we live in a climate now where there are a substantial number of American citizens who simply reject any kind of debate or any kind of alternative view on abortion. And they say, well, I know when life begins. And it doesn't begin until this date. I know. And then you look at them and you go, how could you possibly know? Nobody knows that. All right? And human DNA and all of the science says that life begins on conception, and 95% of the doctors in the United States will not perform abortions because of that. Did you know that, Beck? 95% will not perform abortions?
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
95%, according to the AMA, of American doctors will not do the procedure. So that's pretty strong evidence, I think. But if you present the evidence, then you're misogynist. You're against reproductive rights. You hate women. And the New York Times has taken the lead on this. They're the lead media outlet that promotes abortion as a civil right, not an issue to be discussed, not an issue to be, as Bill Clinton once said, rare. We should be everybody should be going together to make abortion rare. As you pointed out, it's not rare. In some circles, it's used as birth control. I know a woman who had 6 abortions, and she doesn't want to use birth control. And when she gets pregnant, she just goes down and has an abortion that Planned Parenthood sets up for her for free. And so all of this stuff is in play. It's all real. And you got to, to get people's attention to talk about something this horrendous is very difficult because we live in an age of narcissism where people don't want to pay attention to that.
So, Bill, let me go back to Alfie Evans because I don't know if you saw what the police have put out, but they issued a tweet that said, I would like to make people aware that these posts are being monitored and remind social media users that any offenses, including malicious communications and threatening behavior, will be investigated where necessary, and it will be acted upon. That's not the only one that they put out yesterday. They put out a few of these saying, we're watching your social media, and we will come after you. This is getting more and more Big Brother-esque. And controlling of the life. And I wonder if it would happen.
Let me just jump in here and put it into some kind of perspective. I don't disagree that the British authorities could not care less about the life cycle. I mean, it's clear they don't. It's a secular country. They don't believe in religion over there. I mean, their main religion is the Anglican faith, founded by that great theologian, Henry VIII. Okay? So I don't want to be disparaging, but they don't care about religion. But what the police did was, because of this hospital, the people running the hospital have been threatened. Their lives have been threatened, and that's what this is pretty much all about.
So I would like to know what you would do, Bill O'Reilly, if you had baby, Alfie O'Reilly.
I would have gotten out of that system. I have a friend, Graham Barker, who is a physician in Great Britain. I lived there for a year. And Barker is a private physician. He doesn't take government subsidies of any kind. But you got to have money to pay him. And these people don't. So they're
but say that you're not Bill O'Reilly's wallet.
Right.
And you are his parents. What would you do?
I would go to Italy. I would for a long time ago, because this is not the first time this has happened. So as soon as the diagnosis came down from the hospital that your baby's going to die and we're not going to elongate the baby's life under any circumstances, the next day I would have been on a plane or a train to Italy and to appeal to the Vatican, because the Vatican will help. So that's what I would have done.
Do you think this is coming here and people will
No, I
tolerate
don't think it's coming here for constitutional reasons. I don't think you're ever going to have euthanasia here. I don't think you're ever going to have a system whereby the government prevents you from going to Rome to save your baby or elongate the baby's life. I don't think you'll ever have that because of constitutional issues. Our Constitution is much stronger than Britain. But what I think that there is going to be a struggle about, and it's a shame, is this abortion business. Because if you are pro-life, if your religion or your morality dictates that you believe a baby is a human being on conception, now it's allowed that the other side can attack you and demonize you and try to destroy you. That's really the essence of this. We live in a society, the Supreme Court has ruled Roe v. Wade that abortion is the law. Okay, but to attack people, to try to harm them because they hold an opposing point of view, as the liberal media does, is disgraceful.
Back with Bill O'Reilly here in just a second. Also, earlier this week, I talked to Dave Rubin about abortion. He's a guy who used to describe himself as a progressive. A year ago, he started down this road, and he is still pro-choice. But we had a fascinating conversation about he recognizes that he's being hypocritical in some ways, and he kind of hinted that I know I'm going to be moving at some point. More with Bill O'Reilly in just a second. We have to cover the end of the Korean War, which, much to many people's surprise, is still going on. We'll have that coming up next.
Glenn Beck.
We have so much to talk to Bill O'Reilly about before the end of the hour. The end of the Korean War, Bill Cosby, the migrant caravan that's on our border now, Joy Reid, Ronnie Jackson, Tom Brokaw, just a lot to cover. Bill, let's start with the end of the Korean War last night.
Yeah, the reason this happened, I just posted this on BillO'Reilly.com. Message of the day, Beck, which I know you eagerly read each morning to imbue yourself with wisdom. And you can explain to Stu what that means. Anyway, here's what happened. You ready for what really happened?
Yes.
So the Chinese told the little rocket man, hey, you're bad for business, bud, and you're going to knock it off. And if you don't knock it off, we're stopping the oil flow into your little kingdom there, and everything will collapse, and you will be killed, all right? So that's what the Chinese said to the little rocket guy, all right? So he pulled up his short pants, and he said, I better do something here, and it's not going my way. Nobody's on my side, so I'll get back in the spotlight by seeming to be reasonable. First, I'll agree to meet with President Trump, which is like a big win for me because I'm no one, but he's the most famous person in the world now. And secondly, I'll run across the militarized border and embrace my counterpart in South Korea and say the Korean War is dead. All of this is happening to fulfill the narcissism of Little Rocket Guy. But that's okay, because it's a benefit to the world if it all plays out. And I think it will, because China has had enough. They don't want the world economy roiled because of this little nut. And that's what's happening.
So what does it mean, that the end of the Korean War? What does that mean?
The Korean War was never really there was never a treaty. It was a stalemate, as you'll remember. Killing the rising sun. I mean, after World War II, the communist North and the capitalist South faced off, and then they fought. And America came into the war on the side of South Korea. China came in on North Korea, but nobody won. So they just stopped fighting, no treaty. So now it looks like Little Rocket Guy is going to ask for a formal end to the war, which is 65 years old now. And
so will that
again,
mean
will be
that?
A good thing.
Is this like an end to the wall, or do you think that remains?
It could be. It could be the Berlin situation. They could have, but the problem for Little Rocket Guy is, and why I don't think the wall will come down, is because as soon as it comes down, everybody in North Korea will leave. He'll be alone.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
They'll all go, "Yay, see you."
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
South Korea doesn't want that because then they'd have to feed them all. China doesn't want that. So it'll probably still remain the same, but the level of threat from North Korea will drop at least in the short term.
Bill,
so
is there
a
quick question here? If you're going to use the nickname, shouldn't you use it with the Elton John song? You're calling him Little Rocket Guy. Is there a reason
I
you're
like
not calling
that better than Rocket Man because I don't consider this guy a man.
Okay.
You know, a real man doesn't murder people and doesn't starve his own population. Okay. So Little Rocket Guy, I think, is just even more insulting.
And part two, the second part of this is,
yes.
If you have, are you concerned that everyone declares peace in our time? We pull out our troops. Everyone's pulled down their defenses, and then North Korea can go into South Korea without any opposition.
Well, we're not going to pull our troops out. Number one, that'll never happen because you just need them there strategically. You need the air bases because of China, so that's never going to happen. Look, the guy, he's crazy. He could do anything, but at this point, it's a big win for Trump. Of course, that's why the liberal media is playing it down. You're not going to see it. This will be a one-day story. And then, look, the best thing that Kim Jong-un could have done, as I pointed out on BillO'Reilly.com, is gone to South Korea with Stormy Daniels. All right? If he had done that,
they would have covered
massive coverage everywhere.
Yes.
And Stormy
it's really amazing. It's really amazing.
Would have done it.
How do you not recognize this as a Trump victory?
Well, they don't want, of course it's a Trump victory because China knows that Trump is going to give them a hard time unless they cooperate on North Korea and the trade imbalance. China knows that. Obama couldn't care less. They can do whatever they wanted when Obama was in the White House. Trump's a different guy.
Isn't the reason, though, that we don't recognize it as a Trump victory is that it's not yet a victory, right? It's a step in the right direction.
But Stu, don't you want the story to be covered?
Oh, absolutely. Yes, of course. Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, you go out now and you talk to the American public about, hey, did you see what Kim Jong-un did today? And they look at you like, what? 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 And then you said, he was with Stormy Daniels. Really? Really?
It's true. You put Stormy in the middle of this. Again, that's why Rodman, that's the only time North Korea ever gets covered is when Rodman went over there. If you throw Stormy in the middle of this.
I think they threatened that he was going to go back, and that was another reason why they're.
Oh, Bill.
Happy with that analysis, Beck. I think that's the best.
I think it's pretty good, Bill. I think it's pretty good, and I take a little bit of umbrage, if you will, with Stu here on it's not really a Trump victory because it's not done yet. Yeah, it's not, and I don't want to declare peace in our time. I don't want to be Neville Chamberlain, but it is movement that we have never seen before, and if anyone else were president, we would not be seeing this movement. Now, how it ends, I don't know, but today, it's a victory.
Glenn Beck, Mercury.
Life is all about making the right decision in big moments. When you have that huge thing going on in your life, and you can go one of two paths, it's important to choose the right path because it doesn't matter how many small choices you make that are right in those other moments. If you make the wrong choice at a big moment, it's going to burn you for a long time. I can give you a good example of this. Real estate agents. If you pick the wrong real estate agent and then you have to go through selling or buying a home, it can be a mistake that haunts you for a really long time. That's one of the reasons Glenn and his wife Tanya started realestateagentsitrust.com. They were trying to sell their house. They were frustrated with it, and they thought there's just got to be a better way to get this done. What they have come up with is a system to screen real estate agents for people who share your values, listen to the show, and have great marketing plans and know how to do this better than anyone. They have 1,200 agents all across America. You just put your location in there, and you get the best agent in your area. It's realestateagentsitrust.com, realestateagentsitrust.com.
This is the Glenn Beck Program.
So we have Bill O'Reilly on, and I would like to ask him, no bloviating, word of the day, Bill.
Okay.
We have a lot to go over. Let's start with the migrant caravan that has now reunited in Tijuana, and they're planning on crossing the border together this weekend and come into the United States illegally.
Yeah, not going to happen. Mexican police will stop it.
You don't think that America is going to have to get involved in something like what's happening with the Palestinians?
No. I think that the Mexican government, again, this is because of Trump, is so scared of him that and NAFTA is being renegotiated, as you know, right now. So those people are, they'll have brunch and then they'll go home.
Why wouldn't the Mexican government have stopped it beforehand? I mean, if
they did.
If we knew that
they broke it up in central Mexico, and there's a few diehards, but not that many. But they did break it up after Trump said you better break it up, or
600 of them.
Yeah,
I believe there's 600 of them.
I don't think so. I don't think there's that many. There may be 200 or whatever. It's a stunt. But the Mexican police are pretty tough, and they're not going to let these people get to the border. That's a big border crossing, by the way. And I predict, I could be wrong, that the demonstrators won't even get close to the border.
That would be great if that were true. Let's go to Joy Reid. Do you know Joy Reid?
I do not. Never had the pleasure of meeting the woman.
Okay. She first said that her website was hacked. No. She first said that she has made homophobic statements in the past. Then she said that her website was hacked and the homophobic posts were fabricated. Now we know, after some forensics, that this would have had to be a really sophisticated hacker that could have seen the future, because the Library of Congress went and archived all of the blogs at the time in 2006, and these posts were on the blog at that time. So unless they went back and fabricated them, either broke into the National Archives as well, or they fabricated it at the time, hoping that she would become famous and all of this would matter. Looks like she wrote them.
Yeah, it looks like she wrote them. So now we have a far-left person who doesn't like gays, or at least didn't like them, and that's what we have, and that's, I think, the truth. And
so what should happen to her?
NBC is probably going to just ease her out. That's usually what happens in these big organizations. But I really can't predict what will happen, other than she's lost credibility among her core believers, so that's not a good thing for her.
Okay, there's the breaking news stations. Breaking news, Bill O'Reilly seems to claim that Joy Reid has believers.
Yeah, sure.
I didn't even know she was even on TV.
That MSNBC cult, they should move to Eastern Oregon, where the Rajneesh guy was at one time, and they can live there all together. That's what I would like to see.
NBC seems to be having trouble. Talk to me about Tom Brokaw.
I know Brokaw for a long time. As I told you when I had to deal with this, there are two things that are in stone. Number one, you take each case on its own. You do not generalize about anything. Number two, nobody really knows what happened, because nobody was there other than the principals who lodge accusations and those who deny. So when you keep that into perspective, the other bit of wisdom that I gave you and Stu was that every single prosperous man in this country is at risk. Not one man in America who's prosperous is not at risk. Now, I don't know what happened with Tom Brokaw. I hear rumors every day of 30 famous people that are going to be accused of stuff, misconduct. All right? I don't know. I don't know what happened. I always feel bad when lives are disrupted this way because it happened to me, and I know how painful it is.
Bill Cosby, he was found guilty yesterday.
I think justice was served. I think he did it. I think he's got a shot on appeal, though, because the state, the prosecutor's office, I mean, they did some pretty underhanded things, but I think the jury's verdict is correct from what I can see as a journalist covering it.
There does seem to be a significant line between a lot of these accusations and the Cosby situation. And that Cosby's case goes to court. There's an actual proceeding. He's found guilty. We've had a lot of accusations about people, and there have been very few of these supposedly illegal acts that have actually been prosecuted, including even Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah, well, again, I mean, it's up to the authorities to bring these cases, but I can tell you there's a big story in New York City right now. The city government had to deal with 1,312 complaints of sexual harassment from July 13 through 2017. 1,312. 221 were substantiated. So this is a complicated situation, all right? And it's a situation that is brutal because women and men should not be abused by anyone in power, but there are also a lot of false accusations in this world.
So let's talk about an accusation that's not being covered, really. The Clinton campaign effectively laundering $84 million during the 2016 election. Mm-hmm. The press is up in arms over, $130,000. And has this violated campaign finance? $130,000 to Stormy Daniels, which I think, if it's true, it's a big deal if it broke any laws. But this is $84 million, and they can't seem time to report on this.
You know, look, the Clintons from day one have gamed the system. And I told you guys this. I have a foundation, a charitable foundation named after my parents. And we, over the years, have given away millions and millions of dollars. I have never taken a cent from that foundation. The New York Times, trying to hang me, investigated that foundation every which way, and they found it was clean and beneficial. Of course, they didn't print that, all right? But we knew they were investigating because my attorneys were giving them all the documents they asked for. They wanted to tie that into that I was the worst person on earth. Now, Clinton Foundation has raised hundreds of millions of dollars, hundreds of millions, and that's provided the Clintons themselves with money, with private jets, with writing off pretty much everything they've ever done. They game the system. They game it. And, you know, you're right. Who cares about that? Does Jeff Sessions care about that? I don't think so. I haven't seen anybody in the Justice Department caring about it. You know, if Trump hates Hillary so much, why doesn't he get on it? I don't know.
But this isn't even the Clinton Foundation, which I agree with you. Boy, there is so much smoke there that something's got to be on fire. But this,
to give the folks, to give your listeners, that these people game the system. Whitewater, and it's they game it. All right, they look at it and they say, how can we use the system to enrich ourselves? So it should be looked at. But who's going to do it? Is Jeff Sessions going to do it? I don't think so, but maybe I'm wrong.
Let's talk about Ronnie Jackson. Ronnie Jackson was nominated to be the head of the VA. He was the president's doctor, not the crazy doctor, the doctor that looked over the president and the last president. Both presidents have spoken highly of this man.
Yeah.
Obama was completely silent as they eviscerated this man's credibility.
Yeah,
Thoughts?
Because that's his modus operandi. He's not jumping in the fray. Look. anybody attached to Trump, if Trump likes you, then the media is going to try to destroy you. I mean, that's part of the Me Too movement as well. If you're on the side of Trump or perceived to even be fair to him, they're going to try to get you. So Ronnie, I don't know what Ronnie did. He's an admiral. He served his country well, as you pointed out. 3 presidents. He was W's physician too. Loved the guy. But apparently he had a few too many one night, and that was it. Bang, they got him, and he's gone. And that's it for Ronnie.
Kanye West, any thoughts?
I was in an elevator with him one time, Beck. Do you know that?
No, I did not know that.
Madison Square Garden. It was me, Kanye, and 2 of Kanye's 7-foot bodyguards. I could barely get in. Kanye had short pants on, and he's about 5'7". But these guys were really big. And we didn't really had a lot to talk about.
I don't know if you've been following. I don't know if you've been following what he's been saying on Twitter this week.
He likes Trump. He likes him. So Kanye's got a new record, and what better way to have everybody turn their attention to Kanye than to say, I like Trump. And then, John Legend, who's going for a PhD in political science, I believe, tweets, Kanye, how could you turn on us like this? You're so brilliant. I love you, but you have to hate Trump. I love you, Kanye, but you have to hate. I can't love you. That was John Legend.
Sounded just like him.
Wow, that was very good.
I thought you were playing a recording.
Thank you very much.
So do you think that there's anything to be said? Dave Rubin, I was talking to Dave Rubin and Ben Shapiro this week, and they both seem to believe, and I fall into this category, that, what he's done is he's breaking a cultural barrier. He's speaking to people that are not involved in the everyday back and forth. And all he's saying now is, don't we have a right to have a different opinion? Why? I'm just saying this in love. I like Hillary. I like Trump. I don't like everything Trump does. I don't agree with everybody on everything. But don't we have a right to have a different point of view? You don't have a right to have a different point of view. If the Hollywood elite say that somebody's bad, they have to be bad, or you don't work, or you can't go to a restaurant, and we hate you. I mean, that's what's happened in this country. Come on, we all know it. So, Kanye can say what he wants because he has tens of millions of dollars, but if Kanye were a character actor and was just trying to go for a few roles to keep his mortgage paid, he couldn't say what he wanted, and that's the truth. Bill O'Reilly, the No Spin Zone continues.
I got to give one plug before you dismiss me and go on to whatever else you do on this.
Well, I'm going to dismiss you like a yes.
Right,
go
we
ahead.
announced the new Killing book this week. It's Killing the SS, the hunt for the worst war criminals in history. Killing the SS, the hunt for the worst war criminals in history. You can pre-order it. I've already pre-ordered you and Stu copies. I've already done that because I know you want to read.
I don't have a single copy from you signed. Okay. I have quite an autograph collection.
I'm stamping it. I'm doing everything.
No, you won't.
What we found out about after World War II and these SS, I don't even know what the word is. They're so evil.
Monsters.
And how they escaped and who helped them and then how they ultimately got tracked down is amazing. So anyway, we want everybody to go to BillO'Reilly.com. Check that out. There's a little commentary by me. I always post, if you just came in late for the Beck Stu O'Reilly confab, I always post, and you do too, on the Blaze, our conversation so people can hear the whole thing.
Yeah,
no, Bill. Beck, I can go now.
No, I'm not done. I mean, was Hitler in Venezuela? Did he?
No, but very big guys close to him got away. And I'm not going to give it all away, but one of them, Martin Bormann, it's unbelievable what happened. And the final chapter of this book, I'm never talking about because it's so stunning that I don't want anybody to know until they read the book. But the final chapter.
So you're like M. Night. This is like an M. Night book.
M. Night Shyamalan?
I'm telling you, Beck, you know me. I always lay it on the line.
I know. Okay, thanks so much, Bill. BillO'Reilly.com. And every Friday, Bill O'Reilly appears here, and we just kind of run down the news of the week and get his opinion. But you can get it every day at BillO'Reilly.com.